Conscience Scene 6. Teddy sleepily roused in Janet's arms. She put him down on the changing table, removed his diaper and cleansed him with a towelette but did not re-diaper him. Instead she picked him up and carried him into the bathroom. The bathroom was heated and the air felt comfortable on his bare skin. She laid him down on his back on a mesh-covered, reclining, baby bath chair and strapped him into the chair. Then she turned around and picked up a tray of bathing accessories and set it on the edge of the tub. She knelt beside the tub, took a rinse cup and wet him down from his head to his toes. The water was pleasantly warm and soothing. She washed his face and then his hair. Timothy wallowed in the luxury of having someone bathe him. He resolved drowsily that he was not going to get upset any more about being a baby temporarily. In fact, he decided he could learn to like parts of the experience. If she wants to change my dirty diapers, then let her. If she wants to feed me, bathe me, dress me, and in general act like my personal body slave, fine, I'll lay back and enjoy it. Sooner or later she'll get sick of it and change me back, and then I'll get my revenge. Until then I won't worry about anything, I'll let her do the worrying. She conditioned his hair, gave it a final rinse and soaped his chest and stomach. He wiggled in pleasure as a thrill of pure sensual delight ran up and down his spine. This, he liked. She washed, then rinsed each part separately, exploring every fold and crevice, working her way down his arms to his fingertips. She even cleaned and manicured his nails before she rinsed his hands. She washed his thighs, then legs and feet, and pedicured the nails on his toes as well. He lay in a state of perfect bliss, his eyes closed, feeling serene and relaxed. He didn't even notice when she unstrapped him so she could wash his bottom. She lifted his legs carefully, holding them apart with the same hand. He felt the warm, soapy washcloth scrub his bottom and he shivered with delight. Janet chuckled and finished bathing him. She picked him up, laid him on the bathroom rug and wrapped him in a large, soft, warm bath towel. She rubbed him vigorously, wiping dry with the towel, then she opened the drain on the tub and carried him into the nursery. She laid him down on his tummy on the changing table and lovingly applied baby lotion to his arms and legs. When he opened his eyes again he saw her looking down at him, smiling with an expression of motherly love and devotion. He smiled back at her complacently. He sensed her emotions reach out to caress and cuddle his consciousness. He felt secure and loved and was more contented than he had ever been. She powdered, diapered, and swaddled him in his blanket, then picked him up and settled down in the rocking chair with him in her arms. Janet rocked and cuddled him tenderly for a long time. She probed him lightly and sensed his happiness and contentment. She smiled fondly at him and reveled in the changes she had made in him. He was no longer enraged and afraid of her. His fear of the world had completely abated. He didn't need a liquor bottle now, only a baby bottle. She would let him stay like this temporarily, before making him a little older. When he loses his desire for revenge, he'll be ready for the next change. He needed time to adjust. He snuggled closer to her, seeking the security of her nearness. She reached into her pocket, withdrew a pacifier and placed it in his mouth. The next few days were happy ones for Janet and Timothy. Janet took pleasure in pampering and caring for her baby Timothy. Timothy grew accustomed to the daily routines and the forgotten pleasures of being mothered. He smiled often and enjoyed Janet's ministrations. Janet sensed, however, that he was not entirely happy with his new life. He never laughed. She knew he harbored a secret core of anger, a desire for revenge, for what she had done to him. When he starts laughing at the world around him, she thought, he will have forgiven her and be ready for the next stage of his rehabilitation. 2 weeks later Janet sat alone in their bedroom and wept. Timothy was happily asleep in his crib and she was spending another night alone consumed by her grief and worry for him. He had not changed significantly since the first day. Her plan had somehow gone awry. He had become complacent. He had no desire to change. Worse, he actually enjoyed being a baby. This wasn't what she had planned at all. She wanted him to accept her help, not the status quo. He had accepted her all right, as his mommy. She had a sinking feeling that this was the result of a subconscious wish of hers to punish both him and herself for his behavior. She was angry with his womanizing and with her quiet acceptance of his betrayal. She was aware of her anger, but she had truly believed that she was doing this to help him, to rehabilitate him. She had violated the threefold law, and her actions had returned her anger, her evil, threefold. She had betrayed her beliefs, herself and him. She felt lost, unsure about how to mitigate the damage she had caused. The only scheme she had been able to think of was to do nothing, to hope for the best. Janet lay down on the bed and closed her eyes. "I'll think of something. Something minor will happen and I'll know exactly what to do. It's just a matter of waiting until our karma works itself out. When I see it, I'll know it. This is only a temporary setback," she told herself. She took a tissue from the box on the bedside table and blew her nose. "I've got to keep trying. Timothy needs me. Somebody has to be an adult in this house," she told herself. The telephone on the bedside table rang and she answered it. It was her friend, Vivian. She had met Vivian in college in an anthropology class. Janet was working on a research paper on the magical practices of the Taquari Lake people and had run into a brick wall. She had run out of sources for her paper and was stuck. She had mentioned it to Vivian while waiting for class to start, and the next day Vivian brought copies of articles written by an anthropologist who was engaged in a study of that tribe. They became friends at that moment and had remained friends to this day. Vivian had an encyclopedic knowledge of magic which she shared with Janet. She wasn't a witch precisely, but she was very powerful. What she was, Janet wasn't sure, but Janet was certain she was different. Janet consulted with her whenever she had a knotty magical problem to resolve. "Maybe she can help me with Timothy," she thought. Vivian had never met Timothy, so Janet started at the beginning. She told Vivian about Timothy's behavior and the spell she had cast. She told her about how miserable she had been. She talked about her anger and her fear of what she had done. Vivian consoled her and told her everything was going to work out. She had a premonition it would be very soon. Vivian said that she felt it would be a good idea if they came out to her place and visited her. She had just harvested her herb garden and had some fresh herbs to give Janet. She wanted Janet to see her garden in bloom. Janet promised to come the next day. They talked long into the night, and when they finished, she felt much better and went to sleep.